In this video, I want to talk about the tools and art supplies needed for urban sketching. So this video is for beginners. And for those who have been following my YouTube channel for years, this is an update to the current tools and supplies that I am using. Today I'm out making some videos for my urban sketching courses, which I will release on Skillshare and Gumroad very soon. So I'm in Kampong Glam area, Haji Lane. It's a very tight, narrow road with lots of tourists today. This is a very popular area in Singapore for tourists because there are many beautiful shop houses and many interesting shops along those streets. I actually started using watercolor with plastic watercolor boxes. Then I switched over to using metal ones, and now I'm back to using plastic ones because they are lighter and they do not rust. So these are the 6 colors that I have in my palette, which are listed by the side. This is good for maybe 2-3 days of intensive sketching. If I go overseas, I will definitely need to bring a much larger watercolor box. I usually use fountain pens for drawing, but sometimes I use disposable pens as well, such as this one here, which is the Uniball Air. And this is a really nice pen because it has waterproof ink and you can vary the pressure to get thin and thick lines. So this is quite a versatile pen. And even if I use fountain pens, I will still bring one of this as backup. For watercolor brushes, I prefer the collapsible ones from Da Vinci because they use the screw-on mechanism, which I prefer because you can screw on really tight. And this one is really worn out. You don't see any labels on it anymore. And I have to write the size of the brush at the top and at the bottom. I don't like the metal ones because sometimes the connection is not that tight. So with this, you can screw it really tight. I usually bring a white gel pen as well, and this one is a Uniball Signal broad. It's always good to get a broader pen tip because it will roll more easily on watercolor paper. The other brand that I like is the Sakura Jelly Roll. And this is a water spray that you can use to wet your watercolor pens. And this one has extra water, so sometimes I like to just pour the water out here so that I can use this to wash my watercolor brushes. And of course, we will need paper to draw on. You can use a sketch pad or a sketchbook. I prefer to use sketchbooks because they are more convenient and they are easier to refer to. And I use a watercolor sketchbook because I use watercolor. Oh, this one, by the way, is custom made by my friend and it uses 100% cotton watercolor paper. The paper is actually Arches watercolor paper. By the way, if you have the budget, I do recommend you spend a bit more money on higher quality watercolor paper or watercolor sketchbooks because they will make the painting process more enjoyable and you can actually use the watercolor techniques more easily. Wet on wet techniques such as this color blend here or the smooth gradation is easier to achieve on higher quality watercolor paper. You can see that here as well. If you use high quality watercolor paper, your colors will also look more vibrant because most of the paint will actually remain on top of the paper rather than being absorbed into the paper. So if the paint is absorbed into the paper, when the light reflects off the paper surface, the light that bounces off will not go through the paint because the paint is inside the paper, remember. So if you have the paint on top of the paper, the light will bounce off the paper and go through the paint, and that is why you can see more vibrant colors. These are wet wipes, which are really essential here in Singapore due to the hot and humid climate. So I usually have this as well as dry tissue, which is mostly for cleaning the watercolor palette. This is for cleaning my sweat. A lightweight portable stool is considered an essential item to me as well because this allows you to sit anywhere, and I also highly recommend you get a hat to protect you from the sun, to give you some shade, to make you more comfortable when you're drawing. And this can also protect you from light rain or drizzle. Clips are very useful as well because they can hold onto paper and pages, especially on a windy day. And this one has some rust because it's kind of old. Be careful of the rust because this can go onto paper. For this watercolor box that I have here, I can actually clip it to my sketchbook, which is really handy, especially if I have to stand and sketch. The other way to clip this box to the sketchbook is to use the handle at the back. Place it between the sketchbook pages, close to the edge, and clip the pages and the handle together so that this will not fall off. So it will look like this. I also like to use the clip to create splatter marks on my sketches to create more textures. And don't forget to bring enough water for drinking and for painting. This is the water bottle that I'm using. It's a flat one so that it can fit inside my backpack easily. I cannot remember the water capacity. I think it's around 700 to 750 ml. So over the years, I have actually reduced the amount of tools and supplies that I bring out for sketching because I realized that even if I bring so many tools and supplies out, I don't use them all. So now I just bring the bare minimum, the essentials: pen, paper, watercolor, brush, and water. And all those tools and supplies that you saw earlier can actually fit into my pocket, except for the chair and the sketchbook. Alright, I hope this video is useful. If you guys want to learn more about urban sketching, the techniques, check out more art supply reviews. All the links are in the video description below. And before you go, do consider supporting me on Patreon to support the work that I do here on this YouTube channel. See you guys in the next video. Bye!